This is me, writer, photographer, and traveler extraordinaire. But I wasn't always like this. I used to have a job. That's right, I used to be an environmental scientist living in Alaska, but it wasn't enough. So I traded my suit and tie for a plane ticket, and I've never looked back. I've been traveling for almost a decade now, and since that time I've hiked amazing trails and bicycled across 12 countries. I've paddled Arctic water and climbed ancient glaciers. I've gone spelunking in Asia and horseback riding in South America. I've gone sailing through pirate-infested waters and surfing at the edge of the world. I've gone paragliding in Peru and explored waterfalls in the Philippines. I've seen amazing sunsets and breathtaking mountainsides. I've been a part of unique cultures and eaten strange, exotic foods. I've even listened to many different kinds of music. And of course, I've taken lots of photos along the way. Over the last 8 years, I've been to so many different places and seen so many different things, I thought it'd be a shame not to share it. So that's just what I did. So welcome and thanks for joining me, Cyle O'Donnell, as I explore and research amazing places and cultures from all over the globe. This is no tourist video. I go deep into the jungles and find wild animals. I trek out to the faraway villages and see life the way people live there. I do what they do and go where they go. I eat what they eat and sleep where they sleep. I visit distant islands and climb steaming volcanoes. And I do it all because I'm the Travel Geek. From the Galen Red Light District to the top of the Marina Bay Sands Hotel and Casino, and from Sentosa Island to the Botanical Gardens, there's always something to see and do.
On this edition of the Travel Geek Documentaries, I visit the amazing island of Singapore. This city-state, nestled between Malaysia and Indonesia, is famous for its botanical gardens, posh resorts, and of course, world-class shopping. But I'll be taking a different kind of tour. The first day of my trip finds me arriving from Malaysia on the southbound train. I freshen up at the Shop House Hostel, grab a bite at Cafe La Carrie, and head over to do the indoor skydiving at iFly. To finish up the night, I take a ride on the Singapore Flyer, the world's tallest observation wheel. On day 2, I take a photo walk around the city. Along the way, I interview local shop owners, I stop by the Sultan Mosque, where I'm allowed the rare honor of filming inside the religious monument, and even get to see a few museums. In the evening, I take a trip through the night safari to catch the nocturnal creatures in action. On my final day, I investigate Singapore's amazing transit system, and even take a ride on the sky-high cable car from Mount Faber to Sentosa Island. Once on the island, I swim with man-eating sharks at Underwater World, and I end my trip sipping on a Singapore sling in the very bar where it was invented. Welcome to Singapore. The first day of my Singapore trip didn't start off looking all that great. It was rainy out, and there's been news of late-season tropical storms brewing in neighboring southern Malaysian states. So at first I thought this was going to be a pretty miserable trip. But as luck would have it, the rain cleared up, the sun came out, and all I had to combat was muggy heat for the rest of the trip. And once I saw the first signs of the city approaching from the south, I knew it was going to be an adventure. And Singapore is no joke. It may be small, but it packs quite a wallop. The buildings are designed by many of the world's top architects, and this tiny island nation has led the pack in a recent push on building with a focus on a healthy balance between environmental sustainability and sheer opulence. But that's not the only structural offering here. The history and culture play a pretty big role in the country's efforts to maintain solidarity with its roots while still embracing the rest of the world's fervent charge into the future. But I'll do an entire day of city walking tomorrow. For today, I'm checking into the cozy Shop House Hostel on Arab Street, and then it's off to grab a bite and replenish the reserves from the long train ride. Luckily, right across the street was a great place.
So, here I am at Cafe La Carrie. It's right on Arab Street in Little India. And I've ordered what they have, like, it's basically a half a chicken, and it's got no chili whatsoever. It has all natural Middle Eastern ingredients, and the rice is actually saffron rice. It's all natural ingredients as well.
and they've got like a bit of salad and some, it's just called a brown sauce, right? And all of it together is 12 Singaporean dollars. So I'll try it and report from there on. Oh, it's really good. It's very bold. It's got such a robust flavor. Let me try the rice as well. Oh yeah, it's very smooth. It's not expected. So I'm gonna put some lemon on it. Wow, that pops. It's got a lot of pop to it, that flavor. Oh, delicious. I give it 4 stars. All right, so I just finished, and this lovely lady, Fatima, the wife of the owner of the place, is going to do me the wonderful honor of helping me wash my hands. So what they do in the culture is to eat. It's customary to eat with your hands. So afterwards, they leave this on the table so that you can wash your hands and your mouth and dry off. One of the interesting things that I learned that Fatima told me is about 4 years ago, they lost their famed chef who worked at the Sheraton in Cairo for about 26 years and left them with some amazing recipes, one of which is this one. One of which was the baba ganoush with meze is what it's called. Meze platter. I'll have to try that the next time I'm here. But it was splendid, absolutely gorgeous meal. And what else?
That's all. I hope you enjoyed the view.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I had no idea what to expect at the indoor skydiving event at Sentosa, but I definitely didn't expect this. These guys are among a unique breed of thrill seekers. This is excellent. This is the iFly here in Sentosa, and my turn is coming up next, but in between they've got these the local guys that come out. I think they're actually skydivers that are practicing for a coordinated dive. Sort of a competition or something. In any case, you can, I think right now the tickets are costing 78 US dollars, about 125 Singapore dollars, or Sing dollars as they call them. It's excellent. I haven't figured out if it's intuitive or not, but I don't think I'll be able to do that. The cost actually ended up being $78 after I'd purchased the accompanying video from the event. This particular group of skydivers was training for their next competition in London. I caught up with their team captain, Eliana Rodriguez, who said that the competition is fierce. It consists of 3 sessions of only 35 seconds of freefall, where each team competes for the best video of mind-blowing mid-air moves. This team, Skydive Dubai, is made up of 2 sections, the yellow and the black. The latter is seen here. Alright, so this is Danny. Danny's going to be our, I guess I call it flight instructor, right?
Yep.
So, how fast does the wind go?
It depends on the body itself, the weight.
So, what about a big fat guy like me?
For the first time, maybe like between 240.
Wow, 240.
240. Yeah,
So that's faster than a hurricane.
Yeah, it can be faster.
This is the world's biggest one, right?
Yep.
What is the next biggest one? Where is
I'm
that?
not too sure. I think it's something coming out, but for now we are the biggest one. Yeah.
All right. So what should people make sure they do for safety? Obviously, you have a helmet and a suit.
Yes, suits, helmet, covered shoes, and safety ring. That's it.
So anybody can do it.
7 years and above, and 1.8, not more than 140. That's it.
Sounds
That's
good.
simple.
All right. Well, thanks very much. Looking forward to
Let's do it.
to flying.
For each skydive is like falling through the air from 12,000 to 3,000 feet.
Before our adventure begins, everyone watches a few minutes of safety procedures, and then we get up to test out the theory ourselves.
hang on to the left.
Okay.
Yep. This. Speed up.
Okay.
Good. This. Good. And done. That's it. Perfect. Very good.
I passed. When we're finished, we see the instructors in action. Before each group of people go in, there's an exhibition by one of the learned trainers here. It's pretty amazing to see them go. And it honestly looks more like they're just getting a jam session in, rather than giving a show to the crowd. In either case, it's got to get the blood pumping. And one thing's for sure, it was going to be pretty difficult to follow this routine with any hopes of leaving with dignity. But I'd sure try. This is so awesome. I have just arrived at the Sentosa Singapore Flyer. It's not the Sentosa, it's the Singapore Flyer. It's huge. It's unbelievably huge. It's the biggest, they call it a viewing wheel, I think. The biggest one in the world. So it's another first for me on my travels. Yay! I'm so excited. Oh my God, it's massive. Look at this. That's just the carriages. It's crazy. It's gonna be so fun. There are 28 air-conditioned capsules, each set up to hold as many guests. It originally rotated counterclockwise, but that changed in August of the same year that it was built, 2008. The first 3 tickets to ride this massive observation wheel sold for more than $6,000 each. Here you go.
Okay, sorry.
Hi. Sure.
She will be checking the cabins. The cabins go good, so just proceed in.
Okay, great. So how long is the ride?
Around half an hour.
Around half an hour? Excellent. And how many people fit in there?
Usually you can fit to a maximum of 28.
28?
Yes.
And so inside it stays vertical, like
Yes.
by gravity?
Yes.
So it's a little cylinder in there.
It's like, a roller blade, the ball bearing.
Yep.
So the center will always stay because the ball bearing is always
Alright.
rolling in.
That's smart, so I don't lose all my change, huh?
Thank you very much.
Thank
This
you.
way, please.
Thank you. Whoa. Once you step onto the cabin of the flyer, it almost seems like you're in a spaceship. The blinking lights never stop, and there's this very ambient music playing the entire time. Of course, the fact that you're elevated into the sky for the first 15 minutes also helps give it that leaving the earth feeling. Along the way, the views are breathtaking, but those incessant lights do get a bit annoying. It's hard to capture any decent images because the constant flickering and reflecting glare really gets into the lens. But if you put your camera down and enjoy the view, it's an extremely pleasant experience. The flyer itself stands 165 meters, or 541 feet, which is about 30 meters taller than the London Eye. That's nearly 50 stories. It's currently the tallest one in the world, though China was supposed to have finished one in 2009 that was 40 meters taller. But who really loses in a competition that affords this kind of experience? On my second day in Singapore, I knew that I wanted to do a photo walk around the city. Viewing the old buildings, the new buildings, the posh buildings, and the disheveled buildings should definitely be a part of your visit if you come here. There's a lot to see and do if you know the right places to go. Of course, there's Orchard Road, where you can do world-class shopping, and the Botanical Gardens, where all the tourists flock to the 74-hectare admission-free 5 a.m. to midnight park, but you can easily find out about that anywhere. Today I wanted to talk to the people that live and work here, and I started right here, at Faizulah's Oriental Carpet Shop. Okay, this is Faizullah, and he owns a cashmere rug store here in Singapore, right on Arab Street, right?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me a little bit about the rugs?
We have a carpet like from Iran, we have from Afghanistan. The first one is from Iran. It's a handmade wool silk highlight with cotton base. Is it from Iran, Tabriz. Then we have from Afghanistan, we have from Kashmir, we have from Pakistan, and as well we have machine made like from Turkey and Belgium. There are many different sort of color with different design.
Okay. And when you get one like this, how is this made? Because I see that there's very intricate coloring in here. How do they do that in these places like Iran and Pakistan?
This particular piece is a handmade from Kashmir. This one is all 100% pure silk and silk base. Is all done by hand. Then we do have machine made also. In Kashmiri carpet we have like this one is 100% silk and silk base is double knot. We have same size like this one is a silk and cotton base is also double knot. Then we have a same size 100% cotton single knot for the same size.
All right. And how much does something like this cost?
For this particular piece, the price will be around like 2,000, 2,002, up to 2,005 we have.
Singaporean dollars?
Yes, sir.
And what about the big ones behind you?
The big one like this one is from Iran, Tabriz. We have this particular piece around 8,500.
So
we have a same size in cheaper range also.
Right, yeah, so it's better to buy a bigger one.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, when did you start importing these?
My father started around 26 years before in Singapore. Before that, he is doing this business in Afghanistan and Pakistan, and Malaysia,
so
Indonesia.
you picked up the business?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good.
I get big chance.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Next on the list was the Sultan Majid Mosque, or just the Sultan Mosque. It's got a great history. Just 5 years after Singapore was ceded to the British, the Majid Sultan Mosque was erected. It was strategically placed here in Kampong Glam because Sir Stamford Raffles ensured that the land grant for this area, as well as a small yearly stipend, was given to the religious leader. The area around the mosque was also allocated for Malays though, so there was a bit of a quandary as to the residence of those tending the mosque. So to solve this problem, the Sultan built a palace for his family and brought a contingent of servants from Sumatra at the behest of the Temenggong's loss of power. Temenggong and Hussein Shah were previously in control of this region before the British victory, and were forced to give over this power for a small fortune and land rights. As was their style at the time, the dishonored leaders used these funds to build a religious monument, to save the remaining pride in their names, and to stick it to the Brits one time before they died. And what they did had truly lasting effects. In the early 1900s, as Singapore's destiny unfurled as one of the fastest and solidly growing centers for Islamic commerce and practice, the first draft proved too undersized to keep with the growing demand, and in 1924 its latest facade was built. Okay, so how old is this mosque?
1824.
It was built in 1824?
Yeah, it was built in 1824. It built for the Sultan of Johor.
Okay.
The Sultan lived here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Last time, but now the Sultan go back to Johor already. Yeah. He built like this in 1924.
1924.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was refurbished in 1924.
Yeah, it was refurbished. Then it made like this. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many people can worship here at one time?
In one time, every Friday, normally, it can be maximum is 5,000 people.
5,000?
Yeah, 5,000 people.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And so they take the place on the little...
Yeah, on the little
rugs.
Right? Because we don't want all to argue all that. So that's why we make a little
area for yourself.
Yeah, a little area for the
All right.
people.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Yeah, welcome.
Okay.
Welcome.
On my walking tour around Singapore, I found out all kinds of amazing things about this city-state. For instance, most people in Singapore are very knowledgeable of their home. Most of the information I have comes from interviews with the locals. And while I did fact-checking when I arrived back at the studio to edit this film, I still found what they told me to be either completely true or almost true due to possible translation issues or minor details. And that says a lot about the level of nationalism that exists here. There are myriad cultures living symbiotically in this tiny place, and while they all hold their lineage dear, they're also very proud to be Singaporean as well. Because I was starting my walk in Little India, I caught an eyeful of the older architecture, but soon enough it was clear that this old to new ideology had taken hold in the new style of building. They've taken the old style of architecture and either used its original feel for the newism of commerce, or they've completely redone it, making a McDonald's out of an old hotel, or new shops out of old residences. Continuing away from Little India toward the financial district, this trend only became more apparent. It was like walking along a chronologically ordered build site, and by the time I was in the middle of Bugis shopping district, it finally hit me just how much Singaporeans love to shop. They even designed the sidewalks connecting many of the shops to be air-conditioned, so as to add just one more level of creature comfort. I'll say that one more time. They have air-conditioned sidewalks. I've been to major shopping hubs in the past. Places like Seoul, Bangkok, Taipei, Hong Kong. They really can't hold a candle to the addiction of glam shopping that takes place here. In any case, I continued on to the museum district. It's really amazing. They have huge university centers and 12-story libraries, and the art museums are pretty impressive as well, having been built in the old Dutch Quarter. Unfortunately, the Singapore Art Museum has a snooty, overly cliché guest director greeting its visitors, so while they may have some incredible art inside, I was told that my money was no good there, and that they hoped their message was clear. I know they have program partners in the Louvre and the Guggenheim, but when a holier-than-thou receptionist says they don't want the advertising that happens in my travel videos, I can't imagine paying to see it, and so I don't recommend you pay the entry fee either. One museum, however, wasn't above us common folk down here in the trenches. This was the Singapore Philatelic Museum. At first, a museum dedicated to stamp collecting might not sound all that impressive, but upon closer inspection, they really do provide a window into history. Stamps depict art of the time and the region of the world they come from. They represent a larger collection of work from thousands of different artists. And best of all, they're a universal symbol of each country's cultural shift throughout its history. On the other side of the museum, though, was an unexpected surprise. They have possibly the biggest collection of Star Wars memorabilia I've ever seen. Every movie, even most scenes and sets, are depicted in the figurines and battleships they've put together here. They have life-size visages of the movie's characters. They have a collection of characters that never actually made it into the final movies. And they even have, as one might expect, Star Wars stamps. After my long walk through the city, I headed back, got some food, took a nap, and headed over to check out the nocturnal captives of Singapore's other wild adventure. Singapore's Night Safari is located right next to the zoo, but they're separately owned. Just take the MRT Red Line to the Ang Mo Kio station and take bus number 138 to the park. They start off each night with a fire show, where nearly naked men singe off the rest of what's left of their body hair as scores of extremely pleased women watch in anticipation. If you stay to the end of this show, you'll regret it, as it marks the opening time for entry to the park, and hundreds of people funnel down into just 3 lines. I don't know if I considered myself lucky for leaving early, or I just couldn't watch any more eye sex taking place from the crowd. But whatever the case, I was off to check out unclothed animals of a different kind. To see the animals, you have 2 options. The first is to take the 45-minute tram that covers only portions of the park, or you can walk. If you walk, you'll have the option to board the tram later, and you get up close and personal with some of the most amazing nocturnal creatures imaginable. So I definitely recommend this last option. The other benefit to the tram is that it takes you through to see all the big animals. You know, lions, tigers, and bears. No, really, they have all those. But it'll cost you $10 to do the tram from the start. Picking it up from the path, however, is free. The huge 40-hectare park includes 3 trails that go through forested area, and probably the coolest thing about this park is that there are no cages, fences, chains, or walls. The animals that fly, of course, are in cages, but you're free to walk around inside them and experience life in their little world. It's also amazing to see how much different animals behave when they're not behind bars. They seem much less stressed, more active, and they even engage people that come here. All throughout the park, there are these signs that tell visitors not to use their camera's flash. But because the only workers you'll see only come around when it's time to feed the animals, the manifold Asian point-and-shooters generally disregard that rule because they haven't taken the time to learn how to use their cameras. But it really does startle the animals, and it's pretty sad to watch the effect that it has on them, so please don't do it. For me, the most interesting animals were the bats. These were the most fun to watch, and they were so active and vocal. I went into the bat cave, as my friend and I called it, and had a very, shall we say, personal experience. So here we are at the safari park, the Night Safari Park in Singapore, and these are giant bats. They're called flying foxes, I think, and there's no cage whatsoever. We're in a giant enclosure, and it's just a big cage with they're all over. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 of them. Like I could reach up and touch one, and I would. Whoa! Did you see that?
Yeah.
It was right on top of my head. As you can see, I'm not going to want to do that. They're about to fight. Oh, look at them. They're so active, aren't they? I really do want to touch one though. I want to like feel if its wing is like leather or like silk, you know. I think I'll resist the urge. The event that undoubtedly draws the biggest crowd is the feeding of the lions. And this is understandable, since the next closest thing is to pay an African bush guide a pretty hefty sum to catch a glimpse of these giant cats in the middle of a feast. It takes place at 1/2 every hour from 7:30 to 10:30. And if you're wondering, yes, it looks just like it does on the Discovery Channel. They are competitive and territorial over their share of the meat and establish their dominance in the same pecking order as would occur in the wild. The guttural snarls from the largest male are pretty awesome too. You can feel the vibration from the sound in your chest from 50 meters away. So it's pretty easy to comprehend why this animal would be seen in the animal kingdom as its presiding captain. He's even got his own bullhorn. Listen to this next clip closely and you'll hear it. Singapore's mass transit system is one of the most efficient in the world. I'd put them up against any European or Asian people mover any day of the week. Today I'll be taking the cable car, so the quickest route from Kampong Glam to the harbor is via the MRT. From anywhere around Little India or City Hall, just take the red line to Outram Park and look for the harborfront signs. It's only a 15-minute commute, and this area of the city doesn't get a lot of traffic before 5 p.m. So there's more elbow room than normal along the way. The cable car connecting mainland Singapore to Sentosa Island is not just a mode of transportation, it's an event in itself. The aerial ropeway starts at Mount Faber, crosses Keppel Harbor, and passes over the giant theme parks and posh resorts on Sentosa. When it was built, it cost $5.8 million, and that was in 1974. Adult tickets cost 29 Sing dollars, and the cars can accommodate up to 8 people. Well, here I am on the cable car headed over to Sentosa Island, and Sentosa Island is the resort area of Singapore. Not like they needed a resort area, but in any case, this is it. There's an Epcot Center over here. There's swimming with the dolphins. There's what else? There's a giant actual hotel-style resort here. Universal Studios and all kinds of stuff. So in any case, I'm going over there. I'm going to do a swim with the sharks, and hopefully they're fed by the time I get there. It's about 20 after 12 right now, and that should give me about an hour. They usually do 1:30 and 3:30 swims, so should be fun. The viewing area for the sharks is on the bottom level of the aquarium. There's a travelator that carries people through the submerged glass tube under which all manner of sea life is visible. There are 10-foot sharks, several 100-pound grouper, moray eels, Medusa jellyfish, leafy sea dragons, 5-foot wide Alaskan king crab, parrotfish, and even sea turtles that are sometimes brought in from the outer viewing area. So here we are at Underwater World, where I'm going to be swimming with the sharks in just a few minutes. The diver is going to come down and bring us down with them, give us a little tour, and give us some safety stuff. But in the meantime, we got all kinds of stuff to look at. We got like wrasses and stuff in here, and we've got pufferfish. Oh, it's crazy. It smells all fishy. Wow, they're really just tame. I'm gonna see if I can touch one of the stingrays. Here's the pufferfish here. There's a stingray over here. Wow, very smooth. Pretty crazy.
These two sharks are okay to touch them. Gentle, treat them like your baby. You don't touch the mouth, don't pull the tail. As long as you don't force them, everything will be okay.
Okay.
But if happen to sometimes you happen to see the moray eel,
Yeah.
if you swim past you or what, don't touch the moray eel because moray eel sometimes a bit crazy. Because the eel, sometimes when you come down, you go what just swim past. Normally they hide in the cave, the hole, but sometimes because here maybe the hole are limited, so they swim out.
Whether they have some.
Until they swim past, you don't touch everything. You don't touch. Don't touch it.
The long snakes, the eels, you know?
There are snakes like that. I will show you some area I know where they hide it. I will tell you where. Okay, more important is this one. Eagle ray and stingray, as you know, they have some bump on top of the tail. They're dangerous. When they come very close to you, actually they are very friendly. They come very close to you, your both hand must always below them. If you feel like touching them, no problem. Feel the belly, no problem. As long as they very close, your hand don't go above them, they are fine. Once they are above, accident may happen. Because when the hand above them, they swim over left or right, the bug may happen. See, you'll be coming out from here.
Okay. Coming down this way.
Down here, then we walk around and then okay, we move back the way.
It's really amazing. There's reef sharks and silver-tip sharks and all kinds of. There's nurse sharks. There's groupers. There's also there's stingrays and these tiny little big bonefish and silverfish and things. It's really amazing. The cost of entry to Underwater World is 29 Sing dollars, and there's a 20% discount for two. To swim with the sharks, it's 125 Sing dollars. For the dolphins, it's 150. In either case, admission includes entry to the Dolphin Lagoon at Palawan Beach. The park is actually called an oceanarium, and it's located in the heart of Sentosa Island, 500 meters offshore from Singapore. It opened in 1991 and reopened in 2010 after a quick revamping. There are more than 250 species of animals, totaling more than 2,500 marine animals from all over the world. Underwater World is also involved in several environmental and educational projects, such as the Living in the Ocean program and the Coral Club. They even have several exhibits in the aquarium that show how litter and pollution affect the marine biome. I missed the opportunity to swim in the dark, but they turn the lights off after 7 p.m., and the aquarium takes on an otherworldly atmosphere. Favorite color? I like this. Can I have the old one?
Yeah, okay, good.
That was over. Oh, you can see better?
Because it's quite close to your eyes. Very close to your eyes. So it becomes like under.
I think it's good. It works. Hold the thing. Oh, don't worry about it. You just owe me a hug.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
This is Michelle.
Hi.
Michelle has put up with me for 2 straight days, and I am here because of her. She did a great job for me. So when you come to Underwater World, ask for her and make her life busy.
You're more stable than you.
I don't know. I'm a pretty fat guy. I'm probably doing all right all by myself.
You lose that.
Blur, blur, blur. All right, you ready? Once you're in the tank, you're free to do pretty much whatever you want, which is a little scary. But as long as you use caution, safety is pretty well assured. And while I did almost step on a shark a couple times, I can say that they seem more timid than I was. They're definitely curious, which is not a comfortable feeling at first. But I think there's just this unspoken mutual understanding that even though we're invading each other's space, we both kind of know the rules. It's weird. I can't really explain it. In any case, I'd say that the leopard sharks were probably the most curious, yet they would never come within arm's reach. It's quite amazing how calculating they are. They're very precise as to just how far each diver can reach, and they stay just an inch or two beyond that at all times. The moray eel swimming by my head later tried to bite me. It passed me several times, seemingly for no reason. It was muy loco. This was the international symbol for, "My camera just died. That sucks. Oh well." By this time I'd clearly gotten a little too comfortable and playful. I wasn't really paying attention, and I almost stepped right on this giant, fearless killing machine with a mouthful of razors, so it might have been time to pack it in. I had one final stop before I end my amazing trip to Singapore, the famous Raffles Hotel, to buy a Singapore sling in the very place it was invented. At the time of the Johor Empire, Sir Thomas Stamford Raffles first appeared on these shores, but instead of seeing the same muddy riverbeds and overgrown jungle that everyone else saw, he saw a bastion of the British Empire lying in wait. And if half of Singapore's most lucrative ventures, boasting his surname, didn't keep his spirit alive, its myriad buildings with his designation surely would. There are hospitals, government buildings, hotels, and trade offices known as the Raffles this or the Raffles that than just about any other conglomeration around. It's actually kind of demeaning. seeing as his intent was to supplant his own heritage instead of celebrating that which was already here. He'd been victorious against the French and Dutch forces in Java during the Napoleonic Wars, and had conquered much of the surrounding area for the British. In any case, his legacy now lives on in this amazingly over-polished watering hole. Everything about it screams opulence. But in the end, it's still a place where dudes try to hit on chicks. The only difference is that they do so by purchasing much more expensive drinks. For instance, the aforementioned Singapore Sling offers a superb story on which to base a great opening line to break the ice. As the story goes, this drink was first fashioned by Ngiam Tong Boon, a bartender working here in 1915. It probably didn't set its first customer back $26 as it does today, but back then it had a much more readily available recipe. Pineapples from Sarawak were common in this region, and that forms the base for the original recipe of gin, sherry heering, and Benedictine. Today, it's little more than gin, grenadine, and sweet and sour mix. And in a way, the drink symbolizes the westernized hub that this tiny, commerce-motivated nation has become since the colonial era. It takes original local goods, creates a symbol of value rather than an actual item of value, markets it to big pockets around the world, and 200 years later, calls it culture. It's just the Singaporean way.